Hey, my name is Dana Gray. I'm married to Tom, and I am excited to share a little bit about the perspective that I had just on the early days of the church at West Cobb, which is what we were formerly called, and then later became Mars Hill Community Church.
I'm Michael. This is my wife, Jody Duchesne.
Hi, this is Claire Krista. My husband, Mike, and I moved to Powder Springs, Georgia in July of 2000.
My name is Dan Wicker, and I've been attending and a member of the church at West Cobb for now over 20 years.
We had 11 people that we started meeting with in our living room. Kirk and Kathleen just happened to be neighbors, and they were walking their dog one day, and we were out front, and they were super sweet, and we just struck up a conversation, and we told them what we were going to be doing with this church plant, and they said they wanted to be a part of it, so they started coming to those meetings.
We were introduced to the church at West Cobb in 1997. We were newly married. We just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary, and I was working at a restaurant in Buckhead, and one of the servers' name was Dave Sikoriak. Dave introduced us to the church, told us he'd been meeting with this great couple and a few couples, and they'd been meeting in a church school, elementary, middle school, cafeteria, I believe at the time.
Surprisingly, we had 35 people approximately that showed up on that first Sunday, and it was really neat to see that the Lord was working.
A neighbor invited us to come to a church that she said met in a school cafeteria. He and I had never been to a church in a school, so we graciously declined.
Tom Gray came into our neighborhood and invited some of us to go down and see a new family-oriented program called Kid Focus. It was Christian-based on Sundays. Dana, Kurt, and Kathleen would all sing songs, and there was a troupe that would act out Bible stories. It was great.
I am not a singer. It's not my talent or gifting at all. And I'm thankful for the people who have that ability. But Kathleen and I, in the early days, we were the worship team, and Kirk would play the guitar, and we had a couple other people that would play guitar.
Shortly thereafter, I met a young woman named Lisa Cantrell, and she invited us to that same church. And I remember thinking that was kind of odd, and obviously we were meant to check it out. So
the girls loved it. They were learning so much about the Bible and about Christ. But something was happening to me. You see, I wasn't raised in a church, and I was hearing these stories for the very first time. I noticed that my heart was changing as well, just like the kids. I was intrigued. Wait a minute, Jonah, he lived inside the fish for how many days? The dead healed, walking again. It's amazing. It's all true.
And that was very exciting for us to have them come up afterwards with questions about the Bible, and just many of them got saved through the work of the Lord, just through these simple Bible stories.
Mike and I took our two little girls and walked into the cafeteria at Still Elementary. I remember flies flying around the lunchroom, but I remember feeling so welcome, feeling God's presence very clearly, and just knowing that this is where we were meant to be.
The school appreciated the fact that we were meeting in there, maybe because when they got back on Sunday nights to clean up before school, the floors weren't a mess.
It was one of our first experiences as like leaders in a sort of a leadership role and working with kids, and we stepped in and filled the gap wherever it was needed, whether it be beating on a drum or singing or acting or teaching, or how about picking up the 1992 Ford Ranger van at the storage unit.
He had this old beat up truck, and we were able to put all that music equipment in the back of it, and we had handmade ramps. I mean, there's 2x4s that we set up, and a little Tom made. He's not very handy, but back in those days he did make a little dolly that he could put all the heavy speakers on, and then we would wheel it down the back of the truck.
We started attending, felt home at the church. It was a portable church at the time.
It was Pete and Carolyn, the Canes. We had the Cantrells,
The Dysons,
the Thompsons. We had a whole bunch of people that we remember. I mean, those are the friendships, like the really tight-knit community friendships that we've brought here.
We were first invited by Al and Kelly Thompson who lived in our neighborhood.
Our daughter met her husband at Mars Hill Community Church in the sanctuary a few years ago, but they had also grown up in children's ministry back in 2000, early 2000s. They were in Power Hour clubs together.
Kid Focus ran its course and we grew into the Church of West Cobb.
We started attending a life group headed by Jeff and Karen Acton.
I even went on the church's first mission trip to Peru. I was helping build a second floor on an existing church, and we were adding a toilet. And the local pastor was so excited because he said the attendance would go through the roof as people would line all up and down the streets just to come in and use the commode.
It was slow growth, but it was good growth. It was healthy. The church was it was just healthy. We everybody was a part of it. We were unified with the message of just wanting to reach people with the gospel.
All started with an invitation, and don't forget we declined that first invitation. It took 2 invitations, so keep inviting. You never know how your invitation might impact someone's life.
Proud of you guys. Congratulations, Kirk and Kathleen, for your faithfulness as well. Kirk leaving your career and joining the team when you did says a lot about your leadership. So we're proud of you guys. Congratulations on 25 years. We look forward to celebrating with you.
And Mars Hill, the Church of West Cobb, and Kid Focus, I will always refer to as my church home.
Can't wait to see what God has in store for the next 25 years for Mars Hill.